Welcome, everyone, to episode 328 of Just Joshing. I'm your host, Joshua Pentelaresco. I write stuff in podcasts, too, and I've been back after a week. This week is going to be kind of special because I took a week off. There's going to be 3 episodes this week, not just my standard 2, and this begins today with my guest, Jennifer Irwin. Jennifer's an author based out of Los Angeles. She's an independent author publishing her first book. She's kicking ass. It's great, and we have a wonderful conversation coming up. This was I took a week off. I took just a full week off. I traveled basically for the last 6 days. I'm actually taking today off because I'm very, 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 very tired. But I want to get back into the groove and the momentum of things. And had some curveballs thrown my way while I was on vacation. So I'm kind of just dealing with all that. But I just want to say I'm back. I missed you guys. It was a lot of fun to go out and about and meet some of the people I met. Maybe some cool guests coming on down the pike. I did do a podcast interview while I was on the road, so that'll be coming up eventually as well. And yeah, like I said, it's been a very fun ride so far. I think let's get to the conversation. Let's do that, shall we?
This episode of Just Joshing is sponsored by Indie Imprint. Indie Imprint supports creators by creators. Whether you are writing a book or creating a video game, Indie Imprint works with its clients to produce, edit, and present their projects to the world. For more information, check out their website at www.indieimprint.com.
Okay.
So the recorder is officially on. So
right.
If you got anything incriminating you'd like to say, make it good.
Everything I say is incriminating.
Well, then this is going to be a great interview then, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be. I'm excited. Thanks for having me on your show.
No problem. How you doing?
I'm awesome. Today's the first kind of cool day here in Los Angeles. So it's definitely feeling like fall.
We just had our first snowfall in Calgary.
Oh, you did? Oh, it snowed in Idaho in the west, but we're not near there. But
no, you're in a nicer place. Well, I'm of two minds with LA because there is definitely a part of the city I've never seen that I'm sure is really nice. My LA experience was, however, me flying from LA airport and going to the Greyhound station there, which
oh my god,
yeah.
Not good.
No, I did not realize how bad it was until I got there and I saw how rough and tough everyone looked there. I was like, I think I'm in the wrong neighborhood. And on the flip side, I mean, there's this gentleman that came up with all this jewelry on him, no tax. It was an interesting experience, you know. It's just one of those. So that was my LA experience.
Yeah, and you lived to tell the story, which is all the better.
Well, actually, see here, I love your cab driver. The cab driver that got me there just told me, he said, "Listen, they're probably not going to kill you, but."
Wow.
You know, it's cool. Like it isn't the scariest neighborhood I've ever been to. My family's from Detroit.
Oh, okay.
So I've seen some scary neighborhoods, but it's just one of those situations where you just walk into that and you go, unbelievable. But so that's my LA experience. So my LA experience, while I'm sure is an accurate portrayal on one hand, I get the feeling there's more to LA than that neighborhood. I ended up being in there for a few hours.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the thing about Los Angeles is it's so spread out, and it's kind of, you know, it's hard to get from one place to another. A lot of, you know, all the traffic, so you get sort of stuck in your neighborhood, and I try to get out, and there's a lot of great restaurants coming, you know, in the area now. And Los Angeles is becoming sort of a foodie place,
nice,
which I love, and downtown LA is getting way cool and happening and a lot of fun things going on. So, and we have tons of amazing museums, but it's just a big deal to hit the road here. It's just, you know, it's you're looking at long hours in the traffic. So,
well, that I think traffic in LA is definitely a unique experience. It's like when you're not busy, you're busy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
it took me a long time to feel like LA was my home, but now, you know, I finally do. I feel this is my home. So, but it took a long time. It's not the friendliest place.
No, it's one. I find this. I'm about to move to Vancouver very shortly, and I find that when you go to a different, like some of the larger cities, that they don't. It's not that the city just truly doesn't care about you, and that's the only thing I find when you go to cities like that are really big. It just doesn't care. It has its own function and its own organism, and I think you have to figure out your place in it somewhere, somehow, some way. And if you don't, until you do, it can be. If you don't, it feels terrible. But if you do, right, you can figure out. It can become a pretty cool place.
Yeah, I always feel a lot happier when all my kids are like home, because then there's a lot of people coming and going, and it's super. It feels like we're in a hub, sort of, but I live in a very remote area for Los Angeles. It's sort of a sleepy bedroom community. It's very quiet. And so, I get torn about, I kind of wish I was in the city or in a more urban area, but, there's benefits to all the places, where we live. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I do agree with you, though, about the city. Like, people don't care about you, and then you just have to find your position and your place and
fight like hell for it at first. Usually that's just how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, once you're there. So how long you been in LA?
I've been living here since 2000.
Oh, wow. So you've been there a long time. Where are you from originally?
I was born in California, but I call myself a New Yorker because I moved when I was like 2. Okay. So I was raised in New York, and I lived in the city for a long time. So, and I lived in New York City when it wasn't as safe as it's gotten these days. And, you had to like walk fast and look straight ahead.
Don't look up.
Yeah.
Just totally.
Park at night. Yeah, it was not in the late 80s. It was quite a different place. But I love New York City. I really do. And I'm pretty sure my youngest son's going to end up living there, so that'll be good. So I'll get to go visit him a lot.
So you'll have your home away from home kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's always.
So do you miss Detroit?
No.
I actually did some research for my second novel. I interviewed a stripper from Detroit.
Nice.
Yeah, and got the whole story of how she ended up, becoming a stripper. So it was great. It was a fantastic interview and great information for my book.
It's, one thing I've learned doing interviews is that I no longer judge where people come from. I don't care. It doesn't sound, and I don't mean that in like a, very callous way. I just realized that everybody has to walk their walk and do their thing kind of on their own, and everybody gets to where they've gotten to, and just the only way they get to. And I've learned that everybody, that's just it. Everybody walks their path, and I can choose to judge it, or I can choose instead to say, you know what, it doesn't really matter. You are who you are, and I can like you just for who you are.
Oh yeah, no, I'm totally the same way. I mean, when I say I'm from Long Island, people are like, Long Island, like give me a really hard time, but I mean, I love Long Island. I love where I was, where I grew up, and it's this really beautiful little town. And people have a bad idea of Long Island, and that's their problem, not mine.
No, that's fair, right? That's totally fair. I kind of look at it that's why I look at it. If like for me, I moved around a lot as a kid. That's the other reason I don't miss Detroit. I don't have what people would traditionally consider roots. Yeah. I'm a Canadian born, but I've lived in like Windsor, Ontario, Toronto. I've lived in like London, Ontario, lots of little towns in all of southwestern Ontario. I've lived in Phoenix, Arizona. I've lived in like here Calgary, and I've lived in a few other places in between as well. So I don't have like the traditional like viewpoint of home because I've never had it. Right. I'm taking another big move now to Vancouver, so I've extended the triangle a little bit of like where I've been from Ontario to BC and to Arizona. So I've gone almost as far west as you can go. I've gone almost as far south as you can go,
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's kind of that's going to be a big move for you, though, isn't it? To go.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a big move because you're going a distance and you're kind of changing everything up. But I mean, again, because I look at things a little differently. The one constant in my life has been change. Like it's always been about change, and there comes a point where you just realize that you've done. Like, for me personally, I feel like I've done everything I can do in this city for me for now. That isn't to say that in the future I won't do something else. But for right now, this is what I feel. And so I feel like I should move forward, move on, while I still feel in a good place with the city I'm in. I don't want to ever become miserable somewhere. And that's and does that make sense?
Yeah, no, totally. No, I get that. I totally get that. That sounds good. It's exciting.
Yeah, that's so. I get to go through the whole process of trying to figure out my place in a different city, and like I said, I'm using my current job to get me out there. I don't know if I'm going to stay with my current job. Actually, I'm pretty much planning, like, honestly, like, my plan is to do something else when I get out there, because the idea is, you don't want to be the same. Insanity to me is just doing the same thing and expecting the same and expecting anything but the results you've gotten.
Right.
And,
that's true.
Well, but I find, like I said, and maybe this is me. Like, again, you. I sound like you're very happy where you're at. Am I accurate in saying that?
Well, I think wherever I live, I'm happy because I'm a genuinely happy person, and I don't think it has much to do with where I live as much as it has to do with how I feel about myself.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I've moved around a lot too, so I can relate to what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just one of those. It's one of those things where I'm still kind of in the position where, even though I am approaching 40, scaringly enough, I'm still free and unencumbered, and I'm able to do whatever I want to do. So I figure if I'm going to do it, might as well do it now. Because
that's true.
Yeah, because in 10 years, I'm not going to... I know in 10 years, I'm not going to be as willing to move. Now, maybe I'll do a different way of life than what I'm doing, but whatever I'm at in 10 years, I'm probably going to be okay with. Mm-hmm. Whatever that is, right? So this is me going, okay, let's figure out what makes me feel okay now, right? So I can keep being okay going forward. I'd rather be happy than miserable. And that's just that. Again, I can say that because I am unencumbered and free and all that other wonderful fun stuff, and it helps. It lets me do what I need to do. Not everybody has that option, but it's my option, so I'm taking advantage of it.
Yeah, no, I think you should. I think it's good to move around and see other cities and get to know other places and the kind of people, and yeah, no. I'm excited for you. It sounds good.
Yeah, I'm going to have fun and have a blast. But like I said, it's like in your situation, you sound more. Is that maybe more accurate to say more settled?
Well, yeah, I would say I'm settled. I'm right now. We're kind of like, my boyfriend and I are talking about, do we want to stay in this area or do we want to move someplace more urban where we can walk to restaurants and kind of but still near the beach, because we do live near the beach right now, and he's a surfer, so but yeah, no, I mean, I'm settled. I'm very happy, and I mean, 2 of my kids are in LA, or one of them's in college in the East Coast, but he's going to end up back here eventually, and this is their home, and so I've made it my home. Like, I raised them here, and they just they love LA. My oldest lives in Columbus, Ohio, and he's going to definitely be staying there. So loves Columbus, like absolutely loves it. So I guess I've kind of made my life here, and yeah, I'm happy. Both of my parents are dead. It's not like I have a home to go to go back to or anything like that. So you just kind of, home is where the heart is. You just have to kind of put down your roots wherever you land.
Yeah, that's it. No, wherever you want to go. I mean, I think something I've realized as I was younger. Now that I've gotten older / wiser, well, hopefully wiser. We'll find that out in the days and weeks to come. But people do essentially what they want to do, and I find that that's a very interesting trap for a lot of people, because people don't often realize like how much they have a say in how they live. And they get very comfortable. Maybe they're not happy with the situation, but they get very comfortable in that situation, and they want that comfort more than they want that change that maybe they need to make. And what tends to and people get stuck. And I find that, like, for me, I don't want to be that person. I want to make sure that wherever I end up, it's what I actually want.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that sounds good.
Yeah. Like I said, I almost sound wise. I almost sound wise.
Yeah.
I almost. But, I mean, it just...
a lot wiser than me.
Yeah. Well, it's just... I've learned this, right? It's just people... people have a tendency to get comfortable. And there's nothing wrong, by the way. If you're happy where you're at, there's nothing wrong with that. Whatever it is you're doing, however it is, because it's not about what anyone else thinks, it's about what you think, and that's important. But the thing of it is, a lot of people, again, it's this is about what you should do. Well, define that should thing for me, because I'm not so sure there's really a should in this. I think it's more of like, what can I live with? How can I be? Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And what steps do I have to take to make all this stuff possible? That's it. I mean, It sounds really simple. Certainly not. It's not easy, but that's it. That's kind of where I'm at.
No, I think that's good.
Yeah.
And now, are you still writing books?
Oh, sure. I'm about to release my next book soon.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it'll be book number 4.
Wow. When do you write?
Whenever I can. I try to set myself... I don't write as often as I wanted to this year. My goal... I do the podcast has kind of taken a life of its own. I've kind of just ridden it. I enjoy the podcast. If I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't. But it's taken more time than I thought it would.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty big undertaking to do something like this.
Yeah, and so I find that I release 2 episodes a week, and as I get more and more immersed in this world, and again, things have started to work out for me a little bit with this world. It takes more of my time than it used to. So I don't, and then I still work a job as well. I still have a day job for the time being, and so it's trying to balance that time is always very, very tricky. I'm working full time at this moment simply because I know I'm moving. After I move, I don't know if I'm going to be working full time even in a more expensive place, because I would rather my time is valuable. I'm going to have to figure out what that magical adjustment is when I get out there. It's going to be different than it is here, and I'm well aware of that. But it's one of those situations. I want to create more time to be creative in as many different ways as possible. I don't just want to write books. I'm making a board game. I'm doing as many different creative things as I possibly can. I just actually released some merchandise for the novel.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of the wave of the future, is to attach other things to the story. Yeah.
Well, if you sit there and think about it, I mean, that's what we should be doing, that as authors anyway. Because let's be honest, like, everything has its moment in the sun. I'm not saying everything should be about the extra stuff. At the end of the day, I mean, writing the best book you possibly can is the goal. But that all said, that doesn't mean you can't, like, for example, my novel has a unicorn that farts rainbows in it. So I thought I'd actually make a shirt that has a unicorn farting out the words sparkle, sparkle, and doing the wingding thing like it does in my novel. It's a good tie-in, and it's something amusing and funny. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds really cute.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun making it, and like I said, it's on sale on my Redbubble, and it's a cool little piece of merchandise. Right? Now, the book's got to deliver. I think the book has to be better than the shirt, but it's one of those cool things where it's like, hey, if you want to support me and you've bought in the book, buy a shirt. Why not? Because
I need to do that. I love that. Because I have so many readers that are like, they want Prudence to end up with one of the characters in the first book, and they're like team, Prudence and Alistair, or they want, it's just funny, and I think that's very important to kind of brand your books, brand you as a writer, and that kind of thing. It's very, very creative.
Well, I just think personally, right, that in your case, so you should be doing like each of the team shirts should also be like personality shirts, like team. Like what was one of the characters' names in there again?
Oh, Prudence and Alistair.
So Alistair sounds kind of like like maybe something a little bit more like kind of like Slytherin from Harry Potter. So maybe I do something along those lines, right? Yeah. And then Prudence could be like like they maybe Prudence is like a martial artist, so you make a kung fu style T-shirt, something that just fits their personalities, right?
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, hey, you might as well, right? Look. Here's the thing, right? I've learned this. And one of the biggest things I've learned is one of the big things I'm selling isn't so much my books, but myself. And
right. Oh, I 100% believe that.
Yeah. So who do I want to be when I'm out there? Do I want to be the guy that's like, please buy my book and please ignore the fact that I squeak when I walk? Or do I want to be the guy that's like, hey, listen, right? Hey, listen, I got this really cool book and I love it, but if you don't like that, I got this cool T-shirt or I got this cool board game and I'm doing all these wonderful and fun things and I want you to come along for the ride.
Now, is the board game tied into the book too?
Not this book, but another book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Book 5.
Yeah. Oh, book 5. Oh.
Not the series, but my 5th book is going to be Alice in Wonderland as Greek mythology.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
It was fun.
Yeah, mine like it's a trilogy, so I've submitted book 2 to my agent, and I'm kind of waiting to get the feedback, and then there'll be one. So, but no, I think about stuff like branding and that kind of thing, because I think a lot of authors miss that, and they miss that this is more. There's a lot more to writing books than just writing books.
Well, it's funny. It's the start and the end of it, but there's a lot in the middle. It's knowing reaching an audience. That's a big part of what we do, and that's
it's your brand, it's your image, it's your
business.
Yeah, it's your business. I mean, everything I do on the side, because I have 3 jobs, is so I can write and be a writer, and live the life of a writer that I want to live. But it's hard to make a living as a writer, so you just have to do a lot of side hustles, and I'm fine with that, and I love it, and it actually expands my creative energies for doing what I love to do. A lot of the other jobs that I do help me with my writing. So,
but at the same token, there will come a point where the writing will slowly but surely take over as you have more books that come out. You'll get more of a return on those books. I mean, the ultimate marketing thing, the best marketing tool for an author is the next book from the previous book.
I totally agree. I mean, when I went to the Reader's Favorite Awards this year in Miami, and I met this writer who's she's self-published every book, and I mean she's killing it because she just churns the books out.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, backlist.
She just churns them out.
Now that all said, if I'm honest with you, I don't ever want to just churn books out. I don't know if I have
not my style, but she literally said all she does is write.
Yeah.
And that's not who I am, I mean, I am already plotting book 3, because I want to be able to move on that one fast, it's faster than I did the second one. But each time I write a book, I learn more about the process and how I do in the process. And do you do NaNoWriMo at all? Or
last year was weird. I kind of did it. My sixth book is a young adult novel, and I didn't finish the book in 50,000 words, but I'm on the second notebook. I actually handwrite my stuff, and so on average, to give you an idea, a 100-page notebook, on average, there's about 300 words, 400 words on a page. So, yeah, I churned through the first notebook in like 3 weeks. And it was like, the second notebook was taking me a lot longer. But I also know that it's because, in my particular case, I'm pussyfooting around the fact that I'm at the part of the story now where it's the brace. Right? And I have to actually, figure out what's going to happen, how's it going to happen, and take the time to actually do it right. And I've been avoiding that. And the reason I've been avoiding that is not because of any really noble reason, other than, I've had some other things, yes, but also it's just been that little bit of anxiety of the fact that it's just, right now I got so much going, I'm just kind of afraid I'm going to just implode. And I don't know if that's the right...
No, I get like that myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yes.
My books are twice as long, they're more like 108,000 words. So when I do NaNoWriMo, I get through the first half of the book at least, And then the rest I kind of have to do myself. But it just gets me motivated and makes me feel accountable. I'm going to try and do it again this year just because it will get me going on book 3 and just keep me writing. I don't know. I liked it. I did it last year. I like it. I'm going to do it again. But it's a lot to, you have to make time to write and squeeze it in. And now I have another job more than I had last year. It's just, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the side hustles because they help, they keep me surviving financially.
Well, and eventually, like I said, your side hustles are going to eventually become your main hustles. That's the goal anyway, right? And, as is, you got to work at it. How long have you been writing, like professionally, like making money at it at all?
The most money I made was when I got the film option.
Yeah.
So that basically saved me financially for a short period of time, just to kind of, because it's expensive to go on book tour, it's expensive to release a book, and I published indie, so I'd pay for everything myself. Mm-hmm. But I started writing A Dress to Color the Sky, it took me 3 years to write it, and I released it 2 years ago. So I've been writing for 5 years.
So have you seen the evolution of the process as time goes on? Are you doing more writing and less outside stuff, or I don't even know, in spite of the fact you're doing more right this minute, have you been creating more and more time for yourself as time goes on?
When I was writing the second book, I really cut back heavily on managing the marketing of my first book to write, and my sales really took a dump. So it confirmed to me that my efforts are working. The marketing efforts that I put into my book, I am hoping to get picked up by a big publisher this time around, so that I can write more and market less, because the marketing's really time consuming. That's the killer about being an author, an indie author.
So how do you market? Like, what's your approach to it?
I started branding myself before I finished A Dress the Color of the Sky, and used personal photos on LinkedIn, Twitter. People got to know me as a person, and then so by the time the book released, I had a following, and so I've continued to sort of share personal things about myself as a writer, as a human being, as a woman, as a friend, as a whatever, everything, roles that I play in life. And kind of, I'm vulnerable, so that I think people appreciate that I keep things kind of real when I'm on social media. I try to just not, make things what they're not. And I also am very supportive of other indie authors, and the indie author community is really great.
Mm-hmm.
I love the whole group, and so I sell the most books on Twitter. That's where I have the biggest social media presence, and I'd say after that it's Facebook. Even though I barely ever go on Facebook, I have a big following on my Facebook author page. And then running ads once in a while. I'll run an ad, a 99-cent Kindle promotion, and that'll give me a burst of sales. It's kind of trial and error, and just learning what works and what doesn't work. I'm on Pinterest. That's people are saying that's the hot new social media platform for selling books. I don't know yet, but it's just so much work though every day to keep up with it.
Yeah,
very time consuming.
Absolutely. I just play on Facebook and Twitter, and I promote my podcast. I'm always releasing a podcast, and I find with me that has done a really big work in getting my people out, like, aware I exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
That's good.
Which is very nice, and people think I'm good at this podcasting thing, so that definitely helps.
You have a great voice.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's always good when you're a professional interviewer.
Oh yeah, you do need the voice. If I mean, don't get me wrong. If I did a Mickey Mouse voice, I think I could possibly pull it off. Maybe. But I mean, it's one of those things where you gotta be like, in terms of interviews, you gotta be confident with with whoever it is you're interviewing with, because in your case, you're like, well, who is this guy and why does he want to interview me? I mean, no matter good, bad, or different, you don't know who I am. So
yeah,
if
I say yes to every. I think interviews are great. I think they're great practice. I like doing them. I think it's great promotion.
Absolutely.
I'm always, when anyone asks me to be on an interview, I always say yes.
Yeah, and that's a good attitude to have. I'm not saying it's not. What I am saying though is that even so, you were trusting me. So if I don't come come across as confident or capable or knowing what the heck I'm doing, that confidence is gonna go like either discuss or oh my god, what the hell did I sign up for? Right? So if I'm not confident, and I think that's a big part of how my voice carries, if I'm not confident, then you won't want to interview me. Like, want to interview you one way or the other, and I can't. And I can't blame you if that's what you feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've only had one sort of really unprofessional interview in all the years. So, but I'm grateful for interviews, and I think they're fantastic. And the podcasts, they're really getting big. I mean, I listen to podcasts all the time in my car. I learn a lot about writers and the writing process, and I think it's a fantastic.
Absolutely.
Venue to get the word out. So.
Oh, I agree with you, actually.
Kudos to you for that.
Well, my podcast is a little... See, it's funny because I try to avoid the business of writing podcast kind of thing because I find it's not enough. We don't live in a world today where there's so many of them out there, they have to work hard to stand out. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
No, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I just try to be myself, and I don't worry about trying to be anything else. Because if I'm me, then chances are that, no one's going to be able to copy me, and I don't know why they'd want to copy me. I mean, holy crap! But I mean,
that's good. That's a compliment, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of one of those. It's kind of one of those things where I just realize, like, I can do the best thing I can. And I even feel like this when I write my stories. I can't try to be somebody else. I can only try to be me. If my voice stands out, people will notice.
Yeah. No, I think that's true.
Yeah.
You probably have a unique writing voice too.
Oh yeah, it's a little crazy. It's a little crazy, imaginative. I got actually. How did Tracy Posey describe me as an unstructured presence? And I like that a lot, actually. But I have to what's the term? Make myself a slightly more structured so that people. I can always get better. I guess is the way I should put this. Is I can always, there are things I can definitely do to keep getting better. And like I said, one of my goals for the remainder of this year is to practice more, right? And that's honestly one of the big goals, because I would like to be I would like to have some of my weaknesses that I know are there overcome. Because part of this is also just about always getting better.
Yeah, no, they say writing's a muscle, and like you have to just keep practicing.
That's right.
You know, and I definitely feel like I'm a far better writer now than I was when I started Draw the Color of the Sky, and hopefully when I start the next book, I'll be even better. But I love the craft of writing, and I think it's really cool that we all have our own unique writing voice, and there's just room for everyone. It's you know.
No, it's
and I
super
think
cool.
people are reading more again. Finally, thank goodness.
I think people have been reading more anyway. It's just what's happened is our mediums have changed, and what you saw before was like, okay, I mean, how many people who doesn't have a cell phone today?
Right.
Who doesn't? And how many people read from their phones? Quite a few. Right now, it's not always great stuff we're reading. I mean, I don't know about you, but I just read prior to contacting you. I was reading about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm not saying that I am necessarily reading like the highbrow stuff, but I am reading.
I'm a huge Power Ranger fan, so.
Well, Power Rangers Ninja Turtles is going to be a comic book miniseries in December. So there you go.
Oh, I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's that again. See, that inner fanboy just came out. It's like yes, right, and that's kind of how I feel. It's like yes, you know, and that was my prep for interviewing you. I just figured you should know that.
No, I talk about the Pink Ranger in my second book. I'm a big fan.
The original Pink Ranger, huh?
Yeah, the original Pink Ranger. I also like the Ninja Turtles, so that's going to be good. I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, no, I'm going to advertise. Like, I love Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's my favorite crossover ever, but this might be a competition for that.
I don't think I know the Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I'm not familiar with that one.
That one's good. Basically, the Batman families and the Ninja Turtles just cross over, and they fight different villains. Like, the first one is Shredder and Ra's al Ghul. So they're fighting one from each. The second one, they're fighting Bane, who is Bebop and Rocksteady, and this one they're fighting Krang with the Anti-Monitor. They've done 3 crossovers so far, and they're all nuts and they're fun. They're what a crossover should be, which is, you know, everybody's favorite properties interacting together, creating a cool experience that you hope for, and it's fun. It's not trying to be anything other than fun, and sometimes that's the best stuff.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
Yeah.
In this stressful world, it's good just to have some fun and light stuff.
Well, I think comedy is one of the most hardest things to do in fiction.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, trying to be funny is difficult. I try to Peter Parker it, and what I mean by that is Peter Parker, when Spider-Man's fighting crime, he's always nervous, and so he tells jokes. Not all his jokes are funny. Sometimes only he gets the joke, but that's actually part of the charm, in my opinion, because it's okay that, you know, sometimes you tell a bad joke because it changes the flow. Comedy is like anything else is a style, and like all styles, there's if you take the good too long, if you don't have something to change it up, people take it for granted. So I find with Spider-Man books, right, when he's telling jokes, especially when they're not funny, sometimes when he finally gets back to being funny again, right, it actually adds to the humor. The joke might not have been good, but you've been inundated with so many terrible ones. That's...
You're like, wait, this is funny.
Yes.
No, it's not that. Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, and I think that
I like it.
Well, that's it. You can't be afraid to look foolish out there, right? And I mean, comedy is about, you know, is a kind of vulnerability. Everybody understands angst. Everybody understands drama. Everybody understands pain. But we all laugh at different things. Like, we all just have our own way of just looking at things and doing things and finding what's amusing in the world. And because I think laughter is great medicine, but. Mm-hmm. But we all have different kinds of pain. So I think that's the thing. Like the language of humor, is very subjective as a result. That all said, if you can find ways to make your humor connect, even if it's bad, right? You can reach somebody and also have a very profound effect on how someone looks at the world. Comedy is a great tool for that.
Yeah, no, I think writing in general is a great tool for that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's what I love about it.
So, I want to ask this because I haven't actually asked you yet, and maybe I should. What do you write?
I have written a lot of flash fiction and published it, but I did that after I wrote Address the Color of the Sky. But my book is my debut novel is biographical fiction.
Okay.
And, it's about it goes back and forth in time, and it's a story of a woman's basically journey to find self-love. But she's had a traumatizing childhood, and she's really poorly behaved adult. So I create empathy through the reader learning and understanding what she's been through as a child, so that when she's poorly behaved as an adult, they're okay with it and they actually root for her.
Yes. Well.
Yeah, and the sequel. So she's checking into rehab for sex addiction, and there's like the cast of characters in rehab, and it's like Girl Interrupted meets Orange Is the New Black.
Oh, jeez.
There's therapy and the addicts chatting in the smoking area, that kind of thing. And then I weave friends through the book from her childhood, and at any rate, basically the sequel is how does Prudence fare in the world after rehab?
Ooh.
Yeah. So
that can be interesting because I've seen friends go both ways with this.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I've seen
subject that's kind of like right now with addiction, all the addiction problems we have in our country. My dad was a drug addict, alcoholic, so it was a very, I actually, it was quite cathartic for me to write it, and I healed a lot from my own, childhood traumas, and kind of was able to look at things lighter. And I did try to keep a sense of humor when I was writing it. It's a heavy subject matter, but I keep it light.
Or lightish, as light.
Yeah, as light as it can be. Yeah. And Prudence is kind of funny, the way she looks at the world and the way she sees herself. And women tend to be kind of hard on themselves. And I get into Prudence's head in these italics where you see what she's thinking, how she talks to herself. And it's been fun to see how my readers are reacting. But lately I've been getting a lot of reviews from men. And that just has been very surprising to me. Yeah. A lot. I have 127 reviews on Amazon, and I'd say 30-40% were written by men.
That's good.
Not my target audience, but I wrote.
That's okay though.
Yeah. No, I'm really happy. I mean, it's been fun, and the book has won 7 awards. Been optioned for a movie, and it's and I've gotten a lot of messages, private messages, tweets, just emails from people saying how much the story meant to them and how relatable it was and how it really helped them heal and have hope. And I just didn't realize how many people had hard childhoods and how it has burdened them from being able to move forward and kind of have healthy relationships with not just themselves, but with other people.
Well, it's funny because the previous, I should ask this: how old are you? I'm not asking because I want to get punched in the face or anything.
I tell you, I'd have to kill you.
Okay.
I'm older than you.
Okay. So.
But not old enough to be your mom.
Well, I didn't think you were old enough to be my mom. I did not think that. I honestly didn't think you looked a day over 39, but that's okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Sorry.
That's very nice of you to say thank you.
Yes. Well, I'm never far be it from me to insult any woman on my show. Right? Off my show, different story. But on the show, it's okay. I won't do it.
That's a very good thing.
Yes. But what I am going to say is, it's funny because I remember when I was a kid, I got to watch, like, I grew up around a bunch of people getting divorced. My dad got divorced. My mom got, obviously my mom. But all their friends got divorced at the same time. So my particular generation grew up and I got to see a separated home. And it's been reinforced. It was reinforced quite a bit in my younger days that, you know, relationships by and large generally don't work out. I've had to unlearn a lot of that stuff a little bit. Now, I'm in a different place. I'm in a very, very interesting place now as far as that goes with me, in that I'm open to one, but I don't feel I should necessarily have to chase for it either. I feel like it's one of those situations that, going back to something I said, it's about what you want. I'm not gonna. I keep my door open. I let whatever come my way. But I don't feel so desperate that I need it. I figure it's one of those things that it'll happen in its own time, and I should.
The same school of thought as my middle son.
Yeah.
You know, he's just not. He doesn't like to just go out there and try and find the ladies, and he's just, when he goes out partying, he just likes to have a good time. He doesn't want to just, and he's happy in his career. He's like you. If the girls come, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine too. It's not going to kill him, you know.
Well, and that's it. Well, I find it's like it is unhealthy to always be the one chasing, because at that point it owns you. Whether it's better to be like, you know what, I'm open to it. If it's there, I'll definitely check this out and I'll give it a real shot. But if it's not there, and I feel like I'm having to jump to 3,000 hoops to get something, probably not worth it.
Yeah.
But
I
maybe,
totally get that.
yeah, that might be just me though. I mean, that's where I'm at, but I'm no longer at that point where it's like, it can't work. No, it could work. It's just right place, right time.
It is timing. I mean, honestly, like after I got a divorce, I dated mostly my type, and the current guy that I live with, he's not my type, and I've never been happier. Yeah. So you never know. I had to just decide I didn't have to keep going for the same kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know, that I could look at other kinds of people and find someone that is different and not what I normally would go for. And it's turned out just to be kind of a really nice thing for me. But I think at the same time when I met him, I had healed from writing my book and gotten through the pain of my divorce and my marriage, and worked through a lot of that. So I was probably in a better headspace.
You were ready for it. That was the thing. Like, you were ready for that change. I mean,
although my boyfriend yesterday described me as a cat in water when I met him. I was like, when one false move, and I was like, bye, I'm breaking up, like I'm out. I was definitely skittish as hell.
But I mean,
he's been way more solid in like keeping, being committed to like wanting the relationship. In the beginning, I was like a runner. I was out really fast.
It's like, It's like he'd talk you off the ledge. It's okay. I'm not trying to hurt you. I swear.
I know. It was really bad. I was so skittish.
But again, it was what you'd been through before, right?
Yeah, it was PTSD. Seriously.
Yeah. So, like, again, just a personal lesson I've learned in my life is you gotta at some point let your scars go. And it sounds to me like Drew, with maybe his help, you've been able to do so, at least somewhat.
I know, it's true. And I also have a saying, like, we all drag around a lot of American tourist or luggage that we need to just leave that at the curb. Like, well, don't bring it in the house.
I had a friend of mine who gave me some good advice, because I had to fix my teeth a couple of years back, and it was a big step for me because of everything that journey for me represented. Mm-hmm. And one of the things, and he's a good friend, he gave me, and this is what he said,
braces or something?
No. So I'll tell you the story. So I got an opportunity to work with an author I grew up reading, and it didn't work out very well. We don't need to go into all the details about that. Right. But I ended up going through a really, really tough time in my life, and my teeth paid the price for that tough time in my life.
Grinding them and stuff. Yeah.
Well, not just grinding them, just going through what I had to do to survive took a real toll on my body. My teeth was the part that suffered the most.
Okay.
Even now today, I'm always going to have, probably for the next 5-10 years, I'm going to have to make my teeth a constant priority, or I'm going to lose them because of the damage back then. And also just learning how to take better care of myself. That's the other part of the equation as well. But the initial damage was definitely something beyond my control. When I went to fix the teeth, to actually fix them, there was a part of me that I didn't realize how angry I was until I made that decision. The decision was not out of any emotional space. It was an intellectual decision. It's like, okay, I'm ready to do this. But the moment I said that, that's when all the anything that was left behind that I didn't realize I still was carrying with me, it all came up to the surface. Mm-hmm. And so a friend of mine gave me this really good advice. And it's like we are allowed a certain amount of luggage with us at all times. But there comes a point with us, all of us, that luggage has to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller as time goes on, because that luggage gets in the way of good things, which
well, it's like resentment, and resentment is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. Mm-hmm. So I understand that, and I think I'm actually very much into self-care and taking really good care of myself and putting my mask on first and then helping the person next to me. And I don't think people understand how important teeth are, and taking care of your teeth is it resonates with your whole health.
Absolutely.
And honestly, my oldest son is living with his girlfriend, and I'm passing the baton to her, he's got to get his teeth cleaned, every 6 months,
I was well past that. I was well past that point with me.
No, it's you got to floss, you got to brush teeth, and your teeth are a window to your health and how you're physically doing.
Yeah.
Actually, there's something in my book that actually happened to me, which is my mom couldn't pay the orthodontist, and my brother had to pull my braces off with pliers when I was a kid. Yeah, so for me, teeth represent the wealth of me being able to have the just kind of that happy smile that I wasn't able to have as a kid, because
Absolutely.
I had my braces pulled off with pliers, and they were rotting my teeth, and I had to put a lot of crowns on. I mean, dental work is so expensive.
Well, I went to Mexico for mine.
You're so, yeah. I mean, it's you're looking at just $3,000 a tooth, for veneers here.
In Mexico, it's still not cheap there, but it's not back-breaking either. It doesn't break your back. The operation I eventually want to do with my teeth is going to cost me $30,000 in Mexico. So you can only imagine what that's going to cost me.
Oh God, that's brutal.
What? But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's one. It's funny. Again, maybe I am completely, maybe I've lost my mind, but I don't look. It's weird. If it's about something I want, I don't necessarily look at the dollar amount anymore. Mm-hmm. And maybe that sounds maybe completely weird, but it's
What's your health?
Well, it's not just my health. We're not even just beyond teeth here for just a second here. Just in general, it's no longer for me about money in the sense of how much is it going to cost. It's about what do I need to get what I want done. That's it, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe that's not the right way of approaching it. I don't know. But it just seems to me that money is either one of two things. It's either a tool or it's debt. And so if that's the case, I'm not sure I want money to be such a want that I'm drowning in debt, because that does seem to happen for people that chase money. The other part of that is, okay, I'm not looking at cost as a barrier anymore. I just look at it as just simply a problem to be solved. And it's really interesting how that mentality has changed some things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's good.
Yeah. So I'm not crazy on weird drugs for thinking in these terms.
No, I think it's true, and I agree with you. I think you can't chase money. I mean, I more than anything really want my kids to have fulfilling careers more than financially successful careers. Because fulfilling careers make you happy as a person, because we spend a lot of time working.
Yes.
And if you don't love what you do, but you make a lot of money at it, it's the emptiest. It's just a terrible feeling.
Well, it's also it's hell because now you can't leave, right? You can't. People think you're nuts when you walk away from that, because it's like, well, why did you walk away? Because it's killing me. But you're making 7 figures. No, it's killing me. I don't think you get how bad this is. It's and
yeah, no, I totally know what you're saying. And I had to, my oldest son left a very prominent startup that got bought out by a very big company, and he walked away from a lot of money in stock options, and he was like, but it's my happiness, my health, my mental health, my well-being, like, or not have that money, because it's not worth that's just not worth it to me. So, I was really proud of him for that, because a lot of people would just stay for the money.
Well, and like I said, there might, and if there are situations maybe where you do, but it's never about you. It never should be about you in those situations, because that usually never goes well. It just doesn't, and that's been my experience. So if you're killing on something for that, usually what ends up happening is you go through a very miserable time, and then sooner or later it gets taken away from you anyway.
Right, yeah. And then now he's working for a startup, and he's super happy, and everything works out in the end. But it's scary to take those leap of faith and risks. But when you're young, like you said, like where you are right now in your life, you can take risks, and it isn't going to affect a wife and your kids, and you're not dragging other people along with you.
Yeah.
You can just now's the best time to take those kinds of risks.
Absolutely. Like I might have kids in a few years. Who knows when that's going to happen? But say it does happen. Well, guess what? It's about them now, not about me, and that's fine.
Right.
That's totally fine, right? When that time comes. But until that time comes, I'm not gonna worry about what other people think I should do, because they don't have to live with it. I do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
I encourage you to do that. Now's the best time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're getting your teeth fixed and you're feeling better about that, because that's rough.
Well, my teeth. I've already gone through a bit of a phase of getting my teeth fixed. I have to keep working on it, which is just it's a self-care thing. I've had to learn and evolve and grow and stuff like that. And
what else are you doing for self-care?
Trying to eat better. I definitely do all the exercise in the world, because my day job has been a very physical job for the last 8-9 years. So I'm pretty strong. I walk everywhere. I definitely do a lot of me time. I don't.
That's good. I think that's important.
Yeah, I make it a rule. I also make it a personal rule that no matter what I'm doing, even the things I don't control, right? Mm-hmm. I learned how to find the opportunities in those things, because what I've learned is, so the concept of sparkle with the unicorn thing came practically. My day job gets really insane around Christmas time, to the point that a lot of people get stressed out. A lot of people snap. It's a very, very, very busy time of the year, and so when things went wrong, I just started going sparkle. It's really hard. It's really hard to take something seriously if you do that, right? It just really is. And what it did was it freed me from the stress of the situation, right? Instead, I could look at the fun of it, right? As silly as it is, as silly as it can be. But the thing is, I've made it silly, and because I've made it silly, I'm in control of it. I'm rebelling in a very, very good way. And a lot of people don't think in those terms. Mm-hmm. Right?
Well, that's good. That's good. It certainly will help you with aging and stress. And stress is a killer. It really is. So it's good to have things outlets and things that help you, de-stress and decompress from from life, you know, when
Yeah.
things start feeling like they're just too hard.
Well, yeah, that's it, right? I mean, and like I said, the other thing too is after everything I've been through in my past, this is my downfall, and this is where I have to keep myself in mind. I do have a degree of feeling I'm kind of bulletproof, not because I can't die or anything like that, but rather I've already been to the bottom. It doesn't scare me the same way. It doesn't scare me the same way as someone that's never been there before.
Yeah, no, I've been there too.
Yeah. It's an odd armor because it doesn't scare you. It's like, well, someone goes, well, if you don't pay this on time, well, this will happen. Okay.
What it looks like. Yeah, yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you do what you got to do. It really throws people off when you say that. It's like, you're not. It's like, no, I'm just being an adult about this. It's like this is the way it is, and I gotta man up about it. But if you gotta do it, you know, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
It's very again. It pretty much shatters. It shatters a lot of control, and I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people just don't realize is a lot of what goes on and like a lot of what stresses you out is the things that it's the inability to accept what you can't control. But when you can, but when you can cope with the fact that you're not in control, you can actually do there's an awful lot about your reactions that you can control. And, and once you do,
that's pretty much all you can control is how you think and how you react to things.
Exactly. So I mean, I try to do it. I try to do it in as wise a way as possible. I try. Sometimes I don't always succeed either, but I mean, I definitely I feel like I hit the ball with the bat more than I strike out on that one. So that's what I do for self-care.
Yeah, it sounds like you've done a lot of soul searching and personal growth, so that's good.
Yeah, I'm almost wise. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. No, I think it sounds really good. And I mean, honestly, I admire you for being able to write so many books, and I'm excited to write my next one. I'm anxiously awaiting my agent's feedback, so it's kind of a weird waiting place. I've never been in this place before because I haven't worked with an agent before.
So what you do now is you write another book?
Yeah, I've got it. So that's why I'm kind of happy that National November Writing Month is coming up because, I mean, I'll probably hear from him before then, and then I'll be doing my third draft of the second book. But I'm hoping it's not going to need so much work. I really polished the second draft. He did message me and say it's really good, and I'm a much better writer and whatever. So.
Well, that's good. I'm working to get there myself. My fourth book's my first novel. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The other three were epic poetry.
Oh wow, poetry's really hot right now.
Yeah, well, it's mine was mine. You can definitely look me up on Amazon if you want. I did a story. I wrote it by accident. Got published by accident.
Oh wow.
Yeah, long time. Like, I wanted to write a story, a longer poem, and what ended up happening was I had this idea of this boy in a watchtower, and his family and compound was being enslaved to dragons, and he would look out and for weather and other emergencies and report. But while he's out there, he just sees what's around him and just kind of wonders what's out there. I really like that poem. I'm like, this is cool. What happens next? So I wrote chapter 2, where he kills his dragon master or a dragon master. It's like, okay, I gotta go past that. And then chapter 3 is one of my favorite things I've ever written. It's his first night alone outside in the world. And he coming to terms with like he's alone, but also he killed someone. It's a really, I think, one of my favorite like little personal insights into this character. I really enjoyed.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then part 4, you get to see a little bit more of the world he's come into. And then then I just realized around part 5, I was like, what the hell am I doing? Thinking of any other poem. This is my poetry collection. So my plan was, this was my master plan, I was going to publish it on Smashwords and print out copies to sell at conventions. That was it. That was the whole of my master plan. And so I just so happened before I did that, I went to a comic book shop because I'm a comic book junkie. And I saw someone's art someone I used to work with at a Kinko's with. Her name's Florence Chan. She's probably the most professional person I've ever worked with. And she agreed to do some illustrations for me. So she did that in the cover, which was really badass. And I put it on Smashwords. And then about a couple days later, I get this contact from someone I interviewed a long time ago. Goes, "This is really cool. What are you going to do with it?" And I told her what I just told you. And she goes, "Well, I just got a book deal with Ingram. I'm starting my own publishing house. I'll publish it." It's kind of cool.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's kind of cool, right? So
yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, so I mean, I accidentally wrote it. I accidentally got it published, and I am totally okay with that.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's called The Watcher.
I actually, I find it interesting you like comic books. I just got to hear Michael Uzlan, or however you say it.
Yes.
The guy Ulan. Yeah, he did Batman: The Dark Knight, and his whole life was about comic books when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And then he literally started teaching as a student. Pitched teaching a class about comic books and comic book characters to his college. I mean, his whole story was so fascinating, but it really was about a love for comic books, and how disappointed he was when Batman and Robin came out when he was a kid, and that he just didn't feel like it was the way they were depicted in the comic books, and he wanted to make, a dark, real Batman movie. And all the roadblocks he hit along the way. But, when someone's chasing a dream and they really believe in what they're doing, they really have faith in the concept and the idea, there's nothing that can stop them. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Well, I have 8 rules to success, and I have I have rules 4 and 5 always come to mind. Rule 4 is the rest is rain. You can't control what you do leads to where you lead. You have an option for your first book, and that's amazing considering you're an independent author. I mean, don't take for granted how amazing that actually is. A lot of indie authors would kill to be in that position. And whether it gets made or not, that's damn cool. You can't control that, but that's something that kind of fell in your way because somewhere a long time ago you said to yourself, I'm going to write this book, and I'm going to do the very best I can, and it's going to be awesome and made of cheese. And so it was, maybe minus the cheese part. And the thing about that is you did something, and it led somewhere. So you didn't control where it landed. It just you put it out there, and the universe said yes or no, but you did everything you knew how to do. Mm-hmm. So I won an Aurora for my podcast, and when I won the Aurora, and this is Rule 5. I asked myself 2 questions. How did I get here? And what can I do to make sure I come back here? What could get in my way of this? Or what do I do so right that my mistakes can be forgiven?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And basically I was dealing with my own imposter of success right then and there. And I learned that, and like I said, the self-care thing is basically what I feel my biggest obstacle. So it's the one thing I've been working on the hardest.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
But I don't, not quite there yet, but I think given a different position than where I am right now, I think that will come. So that again, maybe I'm crazy, but that's how I feel. Miss Jennifer, you there? Hello? I think you just died. Didn't you die? Okay, you are here. Okay. So, Miss Jennifer.
Yes.
I think we have an interview. What do you think?
I think we do.
Did you like it?
Good. I liked it.
Yeah.
Of course. It was probably the chatty I've ever had that was like very casual.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Interview like this before.
Well, I hope you get more like it. They're the most fun. They're the most fun.
More like having a talk with a friend.
Yeah, totally.
Which I well, and as soon as I have the link, I'll promote it.
Yeah, but it might be a bit before this airs. I am quite a bit ahead on interviews right now. But
yeah, no, I'm fine.
Yeah, but while we're on the subject though, why don't you talk about your current book or your current work, whatever you like, and how people can find you?
My Irwin author. untitled.com. And my book is called The Color of the Sky. And it's the story about Prudence Aldrich checking into rehab for sex addiction and her journey to find love. And I wrote while I was healing from my divorce, and it really helped me from my childhood as well. So, and I've been really happy with all the reviews that have come in and how well received it's been, and 7 book awards, and so it's been a very exciting journey for me so far, and I'm hopeful, very hopeful for the future.
And how can people find you on Twitter?
Everything is at Jen Irwin Author, except Facebook is Jennifer Irwin Author.
Okay.
Yep. Instagram and Twitter are Jen Irwin Author. It's very easy to find. If you Google Jennifer Irwin Author, and also my website has all the links to my social media.
Fair enough. JenniferIrwinAuthor.com?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. And that was my conversation with Jennifer Irwin. Jennifer, you're welcome back anytime. Check out her book. Check out her social media feeds. Jennifer, you were really, really amazing and cool, and it was a pleasure to talk to you. Hopefully I'll get the opportunity again to do so sometime down the road. And I just want to kind of just reflect on my bad news. Well, long and short of it, I'm going to be looking for another place. I found out about that while I was on the road, which was a bit of a surprise. At first I was annoyed. But I'm actually kind of looking at it a little bit different. Last time I kind of went for something on my own, things really fell apart, and they fell apart in a real big way. And although, again, the circumstances weren't my fault as to how I got there per se, I could have handled what happened afterward a lot better. This time I'm kind of just taking it as a positive the whole way through, even when the bad things happen. Like I said, things can change in a heartbeat. I can move forward. I can go back. I can go in just a different direction and, just kind of see what I'm seeing. And that's kind of how I'm treating this. I'm just seeing what happens next. I'm reminded of Jocko Willnick's good in situations like this. And that's, no matter what your situation is, there's always good in it. And you got to see it and have the opportunity to recalibrate, re-engage, and just do everything you can to go forward. And that's all I'm going to be focusing on for the next little bit. And not to freak out. And hopefully this shows that maybe I've evolved to a different level. Well, I guess we'll find out in the weeks to come. But, yeah. Here's the curveballs, guys. And see where they lead you. But that will do it for this episode of Just Joshing. If you want to support the podcast, you can do so a number of different ways. You can subscribe to the podcast. I am on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. I am doing my thing there. You can support my sponsor, Indie Imprint. They do great things. If you're an independent creator, writer, musician, video gamer, they do stuff in all those realms and they do great things there, and you should definitely check them out. My merchandise, jpenteloresco.redbubble.com. Buy a t-shirt, mug, support the podcast in some way or another that way if you want to. My YouTube channel is Joshua Penteloresco. My books, The Watcher, Stormdancer, Wandering God, are courtesy of Mirrorwheel Publishing. You can check them out, mirrorwheelpublishing.ca. Stay inspired out there, guys. Keep doing your thing. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys back soon.
Josh.